saw House Speaker Mike Johnson posting this photo from Mar-a-Lago yesterday, where he visited with Donald Trump right after the second assassination attempt at his golf course nearby. Speaker Johnson joins us now to react. Mr. Speaker, did you think maybe your meeting was going to be canceled when you heard about the shooting? And what demeanor how would you describe the president when you got to him?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me. My wife Kelly and I were on the way to Mar-a-Lago when the shooting occurred, and so we were delayed a little bit because they shut down all the traffic, but then we arrived there about the time that President Trump did. We spent about 3 hours with him. He was in very good spirits, as you might expect. That's who he is. He's so resilient, and we were really grateful to see him. You know, I said this, and we'll all be talking about this for quite some time. There's no leader in the history of America that has been so attacked and has remained so strong and so resilient. He's one of a kind. He is not going to stop fighting for the American people, and it was really encouraging for us to sit and visit with him right after that happened.
Mr. Speaker, I know your faith is very important to you, and after the first assassination attempt, what was it, 65 days ago, Donald Trump said it was providential, that he happened to turn his head at the right moment and look at that board, which normally he plays at the end of his rallies. But he said he felt like God was with him during that. Was he mentioning anything like that? I mean, this is the second time someone has tried to take his life. That has to be pretty jarring.
It is. It's a remarkable thing, and Kelly and I spoke with him at great length about that because it is something that no one can deny. God has spared his life twice now, and I told him that it reminded me of the bulletproof George Washington, our first president, who evaded being shot when he was an Army colonel, the famous incident in the French and Indian War, where they all took shots at him and bullet holes went through his jacket and it didn't take him down. That event took place, ironically, less than 50 miles from where President Trump was shot on the stage at Butler, Pennsylvania. These things aren't accidents. It's not luck. I believe it's providence, and we talked about that. It's a remarkable thing. It would move any man's heart. I think it's moved the president's, and it's just something he's processing right now.
It's certainly divine. I don't know if you would describe it as providence, divine, whatever it is. And I know that most people proclaim themselves to be one thing, but they never look at the spiritual aspect of it. But I honestly, in my heart, believe that he is meant to be president, and we were probably meant to suffer through the last 3.5 years, because similarly to what happened during 2016 through 2020, we didn't realize how well we had it, and we complained the whole time. Not me in particular, but us as a nation. A lot of us complained the whole time, which is one of the reasons why we're now rethinking why we were ever Democrats in the first place in our history. It's forced us to question everything. It has forced us to question everything. And it's almost like we had to suffer. And I believe that everything is divine and everything works out the way that it's supposed to work out. And so the fact that there were 2 assassination attempts, aside from the fact that there has to be some kind of mole or just a permanent lapse or even a setup, if you might add, right? If we really want to dig into our conspiracy theory bag or our conspiracy realistic bag, it has to be something happening, because how does this guy, who obviously requested more security from Homeland Security, and then also already had 1 assassination attempt in which you had the President of the United States of America currently, Biden, sitting on the throne, talking about how we need to all get together and we have to have more passion, and you had them hyenas on The View talking all of this stuff about how great it sounded from Biden to continue to have this compassion for Trump. And then they had more to say negatively about Trump, even though he was the one that got shot in the ear and narrowly was assassinated. We sit here having this conversation on a second assassination attempt. And we had people from the left that was basically saying that they need to change their aim and all of this stuff. I honestly believe it's divine. And I also believe that we went through it so that we can truly appreciate what's really happening. And I do believe that God has a hand on his life. On top of that, you just can't convince me that there are people that just don't want to see this guy win. There's people that really don't want America to go the way that it's going. I believe with all of the things that he said, in addition to the things that he hasn't said, audited in the federal government, draining the swamp, continuing to do and do the thing that he had been doing, getting us out of wars, which is a profit engine for a lot of people. I believe that it is really upsetting the institution of politics as we know it. And not only would it clean up America, it would force a lot of people to have to be accountable for their actions. Let's just say that.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, it is interesting, because he is not just the nominee for the Republican Party, but also a former president. The reality is former presidents don't have the same kind of security bubble that current presidents do.
Unless you've had an assassination attempt on your life the first time.
Jimmy Carter, you got to figure he does not have as big a bubble as the current president, nor does Barack Obama. They've got protection, but nonetheless, he is the nominee. He is a former president.
Probably got more protection.
He is in need of more security.
He is. That's very well said. And, you saw him compliment online yesterday the Secret Service that are protecting him now. I got a briefing from the acting director of the Secret Service, Ron Rowe, within 90 minutes of the event. I was actually sitting with President Trump when he called. We listened to that in detail. And what I understand happened is that those agents that were with him yesterday saw that barrel of that gun between the bushes on a golf course. I mean, that's a difficult thing to spot.
Right.
Thankfully, they did. But unlike in Butler, they did not pause. They immediately pulled their weapons and fired. I think that's why this guy, the suspect, the shooter, threw the gun in the bushes and ran. Had they not been there, had they not acted so quickly and so decisively, we might be having a different conversation today.
But here's the question. How did that guy get so close to the president of the United States of America in the first place? How is that possible that he could be on the golf course in the bushes on Trump International, on Trump's golf course, like Mark Wahlberg in the bushes, trying to assassinate Trump merely hundreds of yards away? And Trump said it. He said, listen, and y'all don't like to take him serious, but he said it. He said, look, this rhetoric and these things, I believe these people are some of the reasons why I'm also under attack in the first place. He said it at the last debate, but we don't want to take him serious.
President Trump needs the most coverage of anyone. He's the most attacked. He's the most threatened, even probably more than when he was in the Oval Office. So we are demanding in the House that he have every asset available, and we will make more available if necessary. I don't think it's a funding issue. I think it's a manpower allocation.
Couple of things. Number one, Lindsey Graham brought up yesterday, it's time to spin off the Secret Service where it was, back to Treasury, got more attention, was able to focus. It's swallowed up by Homeland Security. Number two, to get to the higher levels of Secret Service, need a college education. We got Navy SEALs coming back at 31 years old, who are ready to go, and they're out of the military. And yet, if they don't have that college degree, they're not able to guard the president. Can we make some adjustments into the people that can get into those ranks?
Brian, desperate times call for desperate measures. We will look at all those things. As you know, I put together a task force in the immediate wake of the Butler, Pennsylvania, the shocking failures, lapses in security there. There are hearings coming up this month for that's task force, and of course the Senate has its own Homeland Security committee looking into it as well. There's going to be reports and recommendations coming forward, and Congress will act swiftly. We need accountability. We must demand that this job is being done. I think there are some really patriotic, great people working in the Secret Service, but it's the leadership. We have no faith. I have no faith in Secretary Mayorkas, Department of Homeland Security. He's an abject failure. We impeached him in the House, as you know, but Chuck Schumer made it die in the Senate. So we've got to get accountability. We're working on it every day, and President Trump deserves every measure of that.
Mayorkas is the one that they held accountable for the migrant crisis, which obviously he's working closely with the Biden and Harris administration to continue to do whatever it is that he's doing. And so how can he lead Homeland Security when the dude is, and that's one of the reasons why they impeached him in the first place, how can he lead Homeland Security when we know that he's basically been one of the people at the forefront for the immigration into this country illegally in the first place? And yet we're tasking him with making sure that Trump is protected? Get out of here, bro. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. We got some great things in there. Also, Teach Henley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you later. Peace.